Quick disclaimer before you start watching the video. I had like 3 cups of coffee as of the time of me recording this, and I'm gonna be speaking very fast. When I look back at my audio, I was like, woof, caffeine hit me hard that day. So apologies for the like roadrunner speech. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the video. Please like and subscribe. Thank you. Welcome back, my groovy ghouls, to Coffin Break. We just passed the 1 year anniversary of A24's release of Hazbin Hotel. To honor the 1 year release, I have decided to watch and review the Latino Spanish dub of Hazbin. I did have this script on draft mode since last year, but because I don't have a posting schedule, I get to post it now. And if you like unscheduled postings as surprises, please like and subscribe with notifications on and help bring the channel back from the dead. I am fluent in both Spanish and English. I can read and write in both languages, and I enjoy watching media in both languages. What I enjoy the most is how each culture will translate each other's media. It can be a very difficult task. You can't just throw the scripts into Google Translate and hope for the best. Translating is an art. You need to have the conscious of tone of the script, the slang that might be used, and so on. Just like there's English that's spoken in the USA versus the English that's spoken in the UK, Spanish has many variations, as there are about 20 Spanish speaking countries in Latin America. So, when it comes to dubbing, it is most common down to 2 categories, at least in the Spanish. We have Castellano Spanish, which is the Spanish that's spoken in Spain, and the Latin American Spanish, which covers the area from North America to South America. These are just the options that you will find in translated media. Today, I'll be commenting on the Latin American Spanish dub of Hazbin Hotel. Whenever I listen to Castellano translated media, it feels like it is a very direct translation from English to Castellano, versus Latin Spanish, where they do make certain adjustments and add some extra jokes in the dialogue when they can. If you speak Castellano, please let me know if I'm wrong about the direct translation. That's just how it feels to me, but I haven't been to Spain to learn the dialect, so for all I know, the translations are going above and beyond. When it comes to the process of dubbing into Latino Spanish, it is done by hiring a dubbing studio that receives the script and will use what is referred to a neutral Spanish to translate a script. There's no way to neutralize a language, but what this means is that they'll use a more dictionary based dialogue instead of a slang dialogue, because a slang dialogue could narrow it down to a very specific region instead of the dubbing becoming more accessible to other countries. For a good English example would be the translation for soda. A dubbing studio might use the word pop because it is the most common term in the US to use for soda. Now, I believe dubbing is very important. It helps share the media internationally, so it needs to be done right. And also, when there's no Spanish dub track available in the DVD, I have to translate the film for my family. For example, I have translated Mummy Dearest in our living room, filled with my family, and I don't use a monotone voice. I put character into it. If Joanne Crawford is yelling, I am yelling. I've been translating for my family ever since I was a teenager. Now, before anybody goes in the comments and writes, "Oh, your parents shouldn't have done that," blah, 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 blah. I have other things to complain about to my parents, like the ballet lessons that I never got. So that takes priority. One last note, this is not a hate on subtitles. I love subtitles. I love reading along with the dialogue. The method I am using to compare between the dub versions is by first watching the original episode in English, then I rewind the episode, change the dub settings to Spanish, and pay close attention to keywords or certain key events that are translated properly. And if you want me to get straight to the point, the translation is very well done and it's very funny. There's not a lot for me to criticize. I'm just going to move on to points where I really enjoy the dubbing. One, the voices are very well selected. My favorite voices are Alistair, Lucifer, and Valentino. Even if you don't speak Spanish, I highly recommend listening to some of the Spanish dub versions of the songs, especially Out for Love. And here are some fun notes of the Spanish dub of Hazbin Hotel. The term daddy issues is kept in English. This is very well normal for Latin Spanish dubs. They will keep English terms that don't translate well, or if the term has culturally crisscrossed between the countries. Same process with names. Names don't translate unless the name sounds offensive or difficult to understand in Spanish, then the character will be renamed. One really good example from Dragon Ball Z, Chi-Chi, it got to be changed because Chi-Chi means booby in Spanish. A term that was also kept in the Hazbin dub was the V's. I know for Castellano version they did translate it to uves, which is how you say the V in Spanish. In the English dialogue for Sir Pentious, the writers were able to add a lot of hisses into his dialogue, but when it comes to translating, that is a bit lost, but that's completely normal. One quick example that they were able to keep the hissing is where Sir Pentious says, I wouldn't think about it, spider, in English. In Spanish, they translated, no me trae las arañas, and they kept the hissing. I really like how they played with Alistair's voice. Whoever did the sound mixing had a lot of fun. In the English version, they give him his radio effect. In the Spanish, they do that as well. But they do tend to change the depth of the voice. For example, when Alistair says, "Trust me, I can," very flamboyant, very playful. In the Spanish, he says, "Hago lo que quiero," which means I do what I want, in a more sinister tone. When the egg boys are playing in the trash, in the English, they say, "This is fun." But in the Spanish, they say, "It smells like my grandma. Huele a mi abuelita." So that's a really good example of when dubbing can create their own jokes. And according to my notes, I wrote Lucifer moments from episode 5 are very funny, and I didn't specify. So Lucifer is great. Welcome to Heaven in Spanish sounds a lot more like the early 2000s pop music from Mexico, kind of like OV7 or Cómplices al Rescate. When Alistair's tricking Charlie into making a deal, he says heavens no in English, but it's translated to not by my ears, por mis orejas no, which I absolutely love. In my last Hazbin video, I asked you to submit in the comments your favorite Hazbin line. This was so I can provide you with the Spanish translation of that line. So let's take a quick look at what was submitted. You're looking at the future, he's the shit that comes before that. It was translated to, Yo soy el futuro, él es la historia pasada, which means I am the future, he is past history. Next one is, oh, here we go, Valentino, just another fucking day with Val, hey, 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 fuck my life. Was translated to, muy bien, aquí voy. Para ti no será otro puto día con Val. Sí, señor, la vida pesta. Oh, great, here we go. Another day with Val. Yes, sir, life sucks. Next was Adam. Pleasure to meet you. I'm about to end your fucking life. Translated to Adán, es un gusto conocerte. Un enorme placer porque voy a acabar con tu puta vida. So there's Adam, it is a pleasure to meet you. I'm gonna end your fucking life. So pretty translated directly. Thank you all for watching. Please leave your favorite Helluva Boss line in the comments for me to translate in an upcoming video. I am aware they are starting to have Spanish dubs of Helluva Boss episodes. I don't know if I want to do a dubbing review of that one because it does look like they're a very small dubbing studio. I do have my critiques, but I just don't want to put my critiques out there just yet because I feel like that they just started and I don't want to feel like I'm hitting on them with a hard punch, you know? But let me know in your comments if you think I should do a dubbing review. I hope you enjoy this video, and I will translate your Helluva Boss lines in the next Helluverse video. So that will eventually be here. Alrighty then. So I hope you all enjoy the video. Till death do us part, my groovy ghouls.